I have a Discord server, by the way. I post sneak peeks on new videos and whatnot. Feel free to join if you'd like. Thanks. A little over a week ago, I put a poll out beside this Legend Analysis REDONE, and it seems like you guys want to see another Barraza analysis. I mean, I don't blame you, actually. Barraza is a pretty nasty legend. In mostly good ways. Some people might think he's underrated purely based off of the amount that people see him, which is not much to begin with. Back then, the big Barraza main around town was Cody Travis, and while Barraza gained a bit of popularity over the years, it settled back down. Hell, he was the person who inspired me to become a Barraza main back then. After what happened at BCX 2023, though... God, I cringed pretty hard, honestly. Either way, I dropped Barraza 2 weeks later after announcing I was maining him in my first Legend analysis for him. That's kind of the whole reason behind this analysis REDONE, honestly. Barraza is still a decently fun legend to play, but my distaste for fighting blasters and axes really made me grow some hate towards him. Not specifically just blaster and axe though, as some of the signatures go pretty hard too. Okay, it's mostly the weapons, but Barraza has some pretty memorable signatures, so let's not stall any longer. Axe Insig is pretty clearly his most memorable one. I feel like any legend with a dunking sig is probably their most iconic signature. But I could be wrong. It is for me, at least. It has some strong power catching people and throwing them downwards with large force, which is actually the least out of his axe signatures. I suppose it feels high due to the angle it sends at, but it's overall a super solid sig, not being too hard to hit either. If they nerfed Barraza, it would probably be this signature. Axe Side Sig is a two-part signature. You jump forward and do a few axe swings. I don't think I need to explain how this one plays out when it's literally played on the screen. Regardless, this one does have some nice force to it as well, but has some blind spots in between the hits and can leave you quite vulnerable if used incorrectly. Not Barraza's worst axe signature actually, but not his best either. Imagine if the signature had an uncharged version where it only did one swing maybe? I think that'd suit Barraza quite well, but who knows. There's other legends that need to change this much more. Just an idea, BMG. I know you're watching this analysis. On to the last signature, we have Axe Down Sig. This one, while seemingly the worst one on Axe, is actually still pretty good. It does a really good job at edge guarding and still does a pretty good job at killing. If Side Sig won't do the job, Down Sig surely will. Both Sigs cover pretty different areas the opponent might be hanging around. So, all the Axe signatures are pretty big hits. None are too terrible, and Axe Insig is probably the one that sticks out the most. So, what about the Blaster signatures? Blaster Insig is a pretty good one, and while I was writing the script for this one on my casual Saturday afternoon, I came to realize... the signature goes true with Downlight? Barraza has a true combo? With Insig? Why? Since when? Why did I not know? Like, I'm not upset about this, it's just interesting to know. Even in my old Barraza analysis, I completely ignored this. Apart from the true combo potential, the signature covers in a spot blasters doesn't normally cover, giving it a bit more usefulness than you'd think. The true combo alone, though, makes me want to go into experimental and spam Downlight Insig. Seriously, why is that a thing? Blaster Side Sig is the one that I actually thought would have a true combo over Insig, that being Downlight Side Sig, which doesn't exist unfortunately, but Side Sig on its own is not bad. It has a wild amount of damage, the most in Barraza's kit, although leaves you quite vulnerable if missed. It's a two-part Sig where most of the damage is split up into those two parts. Seriously though, 35 damage? Reminds me of when Bryn used to have 40 damage on Spear Down Sig. I'm sorry, but the damage on this one needs to be toned down a bit, even for Barraza. Lastly, we have Blaster Down Sig. This one unfortunately might be his worst signature, but you know me, I love using signatures that aren't good. I use this signature quite a lot and it does work pretty well actually. It's quick on miss and it's Barraza's only signature that can kill on the roof. While the force is decent, the damage is wildly low, almost 10 damage lower than Blaster Side Sig. This one could definitely use a bit of a damage buff because it's one of the lesser seen Barraza Sigs for me. Overall, none of Barraza Sigs are that bad actually. Some are a little overtuned in specific departments, but they aren't big enough problems to warrant immediate nerfs. Maybe someday they will, but who knows. On to Barraza skins, he just recently, and finally, got a new skin. Only one though, his last new one was Meditative. My opinions changed a bit over the years, so let's go through them real quickly. God tier has Heartbreaker and Wraith Barraza. Giving a classy style to Barraza feels so clean to use on him, and Wraith has this cool ghost vibe to it. Two amazing picks. Pretty good tier has Famished Beast, Meditative, and Slasher. Famished? Bleh, whatever. Famished Beast is a new one, and I really want to put this one in S tier, although it might be new skin bias, so I'll leave it at high A tier, or maybe even low S tier. One of the better skins in the new Battle Pass. Meditative I put in God tier in the past, but the hype has died down for it. You know Barraza mains were hyped when the skin dropped though. As for Slasher, it's an old favorite of mine, but admittedly just fits into pretty good tier. Mid tier has Default, Nemesis, Sharkheart, and Amun-Raza. Default doesn't have too much going on, but is okay. Nemesis sticks out in terms of launch skins, the gearhead is kinda cool. Sharkheart also sticks out and looks decent, and Amun-Raza I think people would place lower, but the style is unique. It's just done a bit strangely in terms of color swaps. Med tier has Razorback and Sawed-Off Barraza. These two are just kind of bland to me, honestly. I'm sorry, Cody Travis fans. Sawed-Off might be iconic, but it doesn't mean it's good. Then Get Out tier, we have Rick. Ah yes, let's ditch the cool Mad Max Legend theme and play Rick from The Walking Dead. It's a shame Barraza got stuck with such a lame crossover, seriously. Overall, Barraza skins aren't my favorite, but some definitely stick out as good. Tier list-wise, out of S, A, B, C, and D, I'd place Barraza in low S tier, for a number of reasons. Barraza's good at almost everything, it seems like. He has a wild weapon combo, Axe and Blasters. Axe right now is an insane weapon, and Blasters, to me at least, are also super scary to deal with. With how early both these weapons can kill, it's much scarier on a high-strength legend like Barraza. He has some hard-hitting signatures, decent for 2s as well, even if all people are playing as Olgrim, Rayman, Brandon, etc. And let's not forget about his stat lineup. 6 attack, 4 dex, 8 defense, and 4 speed. Nearly Queen Eye stats actually, just much better. As I said in the past, any stance pretty much works besides dex. Speed takes out of defense, a solid choice. Defense takes out of attack for living much longer, also pretty solid. Attack takes out on dex, which has no downsides, and dex takes out of speed, leaving you at a minuscule 3 speed. A horrible stance to run, honestly. All the other ones are really good, though. So, let's really think. Does Barraza lack in any areas? Good weapons, signatures, stat lineup is good, 2's potential is decent. Nothing comes to thought. I could be blanking out, but Barraza really does just about everything. It's a shame that not as many people play him, though. His play rate in the past was actually averaging around 2%, but it's sitting pretty under averaged at about 1.26%. He doesn't really even have a reason to be this underplayed, which is strange. Now, while this would usually be the part of the video where I would tell you to play the legend we're covering, I have a crippling hate towards both Blasters and Axe combined. Now, if I start seeing more Barraza players after this analysis, I might have to start seeing 4 therapists at once instead of my typical 3 therapists. But what are your thoughts on Barraza? Is he too strong, too weak? Do you have as much of a distaste for his weapon combo as much as I do? Hit me up in my Discord server if you want my therapist's phone number. Or if you just want to hang out, I'm pretty active there for that too. And until next time, always remember to keep on brawling.